Luke's back. Luke is back. He's gonna give some chat. Gonna chat about Raw. Hello and welcome to the WrestleRamble podcast. Is AJ Styles turning heel? I'm Ollie Davis, and joining us back again is Luke Owen.
Back once again like a renegade master.
2 weeks in Machu Picchu.
2 blissful weeks without wrestling. It has been. I can't recommend it enough. People should take more breaks from wrestling. It makes you appreciate it a lot.
WWE.
Yes, actually, I will say, yeah. WWE. But man, things have changed.
And I'm excited to get into this.
What's with all the finishes?
Everyone gets pinned now.
What's with all the match restarts?
Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin are a thing. Undertaker's still here. It was shocking to us. He was around last time you watched.
Yeah, absolutely. He was literally there the day before. Because the last WWE thing I saw was Undertaker versus Goldberg at Saudi Showdown. So I'm like, well, Undertaker's always been around. Why is everyone so surprised?
I think that's a good point to leave wrestling.
Oh, yeah?
Undertaker and Goldberg. You know what? I'm done.
I'm done with this for a little bit.
I'm going to literally flee to Peru where there's no Wi-Fi. Please press the thumbs up button. Leave us a comment down below if you're not watching the live stream and give us a subscribe. We will get to your super chats later on because we are joined by WrestleTalk.com's Randy Andy Datson. He'll be getting there later if he's in shot properly. And for now, we're chatting, is AJ Styles turning heel?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one because I didn't particularly think that he was going by the end of the show. But I suppose if you kind of go back and think about and like look at the interview that he did with
Mean Charlie Caruso.
Yeah. Where
she was mean.
Can we just talk about that interview segment?
Let's come on to that. We'll talk about the whole theory as to why we think Styles is turning. Well,
You take me through it.
I think it's a possibility.
Okay.
When AJ Styles came back from injury, because he's been off for about a month, 6 weeks, with a back injury, and he's healed up now, he was medically cleared on last week's Raw, and he was being interviewed about that. And then Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson walk in, and I'm like, hey, AJ, how's it going? And he's like, you two need to buck up your ideas. You two need to be serious ass kickers once again. The guys I knew back in Japan. So like, all right then, we're going to do that. And then they went out and lost to the Usos in about a minute.
Nice.
And they did a similar thing here, where they went out and lost to the Viking Raiders.
But they did show a bit more. I mean, granted, I didn't see the match last week. I haven't seen anything. Someone actually did say, "Have you caught up with everything?" I was like, "No." Someone even said, "Are you going to watch Stomping Grounds?" I was like, "No, absolutely not."
That's 3 hours of Raw times 2, 2 hours of SmackDown times 2.
Yep, 2 hours of NXT.
That's 100 hours.
Yeah,
nearing about.
Yeah,
this week.
But I was going to say, sorry, I thought that the Good Brothers did actually have quite a good showing against the Viking Raiders. Like they took the first half of the match.
But the match was 3 minutes long.
No, but still, it's more than I've seen them have in the ring in about 2 years.
Yeah, I think it is actually a good story they're telling. That the Gallows and Anderson go out there. They have a minute of good offense, but then they seem to get a bit cocky.
They get cocky, start too sweeting each other, be like, we got this.
It's that exact party style that AJ wants them to stop doing and take things more seriously. Yeah. And that's when Ivar had an amazing hot tag.
Incredible little hot tag.
Whoa. So that was really good. And then the Viking Experience Raiders War beat them, and then AJ sort of dressed them down again backstage. So this could be a really good story that Gallows and Anderson are slowly becoming badass again. And then I think hopefully they'll form with AJ. Or it could just be a way to bury them. Like this just goes nowhere.
I did think, because they are one of the two that look to be on the way out, most likely heading over to AEW or something along those lines. And I did think, I was like, I wonder if they're only getting a push because of the rumors that they are possibly on the outs. And then they were losing again. I was like, or is this just a punishment? Or is this just a way to be like, oh, you're leaving? Okay, well, you're just going to lose all the time then. You either lose all the time or you win the tag belts.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
But so as part of this, and why I think it might not be that, is the AJ Styles involvement. Because he's signed for multi-years with the company. He said he's going to end his career in WWE. Yep. They think very highly of AJ Styles. Vince McMahon is reportedly always very impressed with him. So if they're packaging the club back together and they're sort of going towards this reunion, I think Raw especially has a legitimate heel problem at the moment. They haven't got them.
This is why Baron Corbin's in the main event, as is Lacey Evans.
Yeah, and all of Kofi Kingston's challengers are, and as much as I love them, Dolph Ziggler, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens. They're not, I know one of those guys is a former Universal Champion, but they have not been portrayed as credible threats for a long time.
No.
But this could be a way, AJ Styles with Gallows and Anderson as the club, to really be a mid-card. I'm just so used to saying it. A proper main event heel act.
And I did think to myself, I was like, and Finn Balor could join them as well, forgetting that he's not on that brand anymore. But then again, Samoa Joe's going for the WWE Championship, and the last time I checked, he is a Raw guy, right?
Yeah, so that's another thing to catch you up on. The wild cards aren't really talked about anymore. I
was going to ask this.
It's just a super show now.
Yeah, is that what it... Okay.
Oh yeah, but you don't get Raw stars on SmackDown. It's one-way traffic.
Okay.
And then Seth Rollins will appear once every 2 years on SmackDown.
Okay, well, that makes sense then. Because I did think, at one point I was going to start tracking the wild cards, but then I thought, I'm not sure if they've said the word, and there appears to have been a lot already.
Occasionally, Sami Zayn will say wild card as a joke. And because that's precisely what it is.
Okay, so and the matches restarting are those the only two changes?
I'm sure there's loads. We'll come on to them as we go.
Is one of the other changes interviewers asking a question and then when they start to answer it say, actually, I don't care about that?
No, that's new. That's new.
Charlie Caruso's interviewing AJ backstage and she's like, AJ, it's so good to see you. You're back from injury. Tell me about your injury. And AJ's like, hey, Charlie, I have been out for a while. She's like, no, I don't care about that. I'll ask you about that later. And then asks another question. And I thought to myself, I must have misheard. So I went back and rewatched it. And I was like, no, she literally asks the question. He starts to answer. And she's like, I haven't got time for that.
Yeah, it's so rude. And this is all very funny. I found this hilarious. We've been joking about mean Charlie Caruso for ages. Yeah. This was the meanest she's ever been to a top guy.
I know, yeah.
But, really, fundamentally, it makes Styles look rubbish.
Oh, yeah, it really does.
Because he doesn't go, well, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. I can't tell you from Dasher. But he doesn't. He just goes, oh, yeah, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
So the match with Ricochet later on.
But I would argue that it kind of almost makes sense in the grander scheme of the interview, though, because he's standing there being a bit frustrated because that question has been asked and he didn't get to answer it. And then No Way Jose's music starts playing, which distracts him from the interview. And then he's like, okay, no, I'll carry on the interview anyway. But then the music plays again and he sees Gallows and Anderson. And it's like, so he's got the frustration of the interview, frustration of the music, and then he sees his two very, very good friends who used to be these absolute dominating forces in Japan acting like goofs, which then fuels him to be annoyed. So I can almost Pritchard this into making sense.
I think a week your optimism is going to last. I thought it was funny because it was bad. But it was actually quite harmful, I thought, for AJ.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Then AJ goes and talks to Gallows and Carl Anderson. That's what leads into the Viking Raiders bit. And later on in the main event was AJ Styles versus Ricochet, which was a great TV match.
Would have been a great 20-minute match.
Yeah. Well, how long did they go? About 10?
About 10 minutes in the end, because they started to have a match. Then Gallows and Anderson came down. Anderson tripped Ricochet. And then AJ told them to go to the back, and the match was restarted through an ad break, and then they had a 10-minute match.
Yeah.
Whereas they could have just had one 20-minute match.
You see, I didn't, so the reason the match was restarted was because of this new, reportedly stupid rule that Vince McMahon doesn't want any matches to continue through an ad break.
Which is something that we have complained about.
Yes.
And I'm quite, and that actually doesn't that's not an issue.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that.
Yes.
And I think the matches are much better for it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, WWE have decided that means to take a break, we'll have all these stupid stipulations that are completely overdone, 2 out of 3 falls, elimination stipulations, or run-ins, where they can artificially restart these matches to give them a break to go to commercials.
Right. Yeah, there is a better way to do this. Like, Wrestling Observer Radio were talking about this, and they were pointing out that, like, American football, they don't play, they just wait till the action is over and then have an ad break, as opposed to, they don't, like, set up the start of a play, go to an ad break, and then just tell the players to wait for a bit, and then when the ad break comes back, they then start the play. No, they just schedule the ad breaks around the action.
Yeah.
Which is actually not that difficult to do, as opposed to having an 8-man tag that is elimination based, and then when it gets down to the final 2 teams, they're like, we're going to have to restart this match. And like, what? Why are we restarting the match all of a sudden? What does that mean?
Yeah. It's like being in a traffic jam for wrestling, where it keeps stopping and starting. So Gallows and Anderson came down. They tripped Ricochet, and AJ Styles gets out the ring and says, "Hey, I don't want none."
Is that what he said?
No. That's what I put in his mouth.
That's what she said.
I don't want none of your cheating heel tactics, and he sends them to the back. That was the first bit where I was like, I could see him turning heel with them. Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to happen on this show for a moment.
Are they heels?
They're definitely not baby faces.
Okay.
If they're tripping Ricochet in the main event,
I suppose that's
to help
true,
out their buddy.
Yeah, that's true.
And that I think they did this before. They've told this story before, actually, but then it just fizzled out and didn't end up going anywhere.
That sounds very unlike.
Yeah. Well, AJ just turned face, or like kept his face character off the back of it. Gallows and Anderson just Thanos'd away.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, is AJ Styles turning heel question? I'm not 100% on that, but it is a possibility.
I was thinking about this after you posed the question. I can almost see Gallows and Anderson turning on AJ.
Yeah, possibly.
And then you lead to a tag team feud between Ricochet and AJ versus the Good Brothers as like a big sort of fun flip-de-doo. Like AJ and Ricochet, the dream flip-de-doo tag team.
Or, I mean, I don't want to get heel turn crazy here, but maybe they're like, AJ's no fun. AJ's rubbish. Who else can we get to lead our motley crew? What's Finn Balor doing at the moment?
What is Finn Balor doing? Because
not much.
I was going to say, I've been gone for a couple of weeks, but I did get to do my Stomping Grounds predictions while I was doing a toilet, because I did get some Wi-Fi, and I suddenly got a message from Andy with a form. I was like, I'm going to assume this is Stomping Ground predictions. I'm going to pick these at random. And I was like, what's the most...
You did really well.
I was like, what's the most boring thing this company could do? Bomb, 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 Elias. And then press send, and I was on my way. Turns out, that's actually the best way to do predictions.
Did anyone else say Elias for the special guest referee?
Give me...
Oh, no, that wouldn't have worked because he was set up as the first dud one. He was taken out.
Right. I just thought it would be the most boring choice possible. Bet you it's Elias.
Oh, they found one more. They found one worse. So AJ and Ricochet had a really solid...
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, of course you're going to. It's AJ versus Ricochet. This is a dream match.
Will Ospreay, in his spats with Seth Rollins as of late, said in an interview with ESPN, said, like, pretty sure the last time I heard Seth Rollins have a good match was against AJ Styles, but if you can't have a good match against AJ Styles, you should, quote, leave the planet. So yeah, shock of all shocks, Ricochet had a very good match with AJ Styles.
But I know a lot of people have raved about this match, and I'm very happy I saw it too, but I disagree so much with having it. AJ is returning from injury. Ricochet literally won the United States title, his first championship on the main roster, the night before at Stomping Grounds, and had that nice backstage celebration with the babyfaces and Triple H. And I know AJ endorsed him at the end of the match. I know it was in the main event, so it made Ricochet look good and the US title look good. But the fact of the matter is, He lost.
Yeah.
And this is a great match that you could have built to. Why do you have to do it now? Why can't you have AJ pick up some wins, Ricochet pick up some wins, and then have the pay-per-view match, and Ricochet gets over by putting an even better 20-minute match in there?
Yeah, the commentators kept saying as well, like throughout the match, I mean, Ricochet is good, don't get me wrong, but can he be on the same level as AJ Styles and this and the other? And then it turns out, he can't, because he got beat 24 hours after winning the title. So I actually wrote, I was like, man, sucks for Ricochet getting pinned. It looks like the curse of the US Championship has struck already.
And it's weird because I think in WWE's mindset, we're strapping the rocket to this guy.
Yeah.
Well, let him win then.
They were putting him over so hard on commentary.
Yeah.
Being like, oh my God, he's amazing. This kid's incredible. He's so young, but he's absolutely awesome. But yeah, you're right. Let him win matches. Don't just pin him. This is the first chance you get.
Styles is coming back off a back injury. You can just work that into the match.
Yeah.
Have him sell that he's got a bit of ring rust. Maybe that's what sends him in a spiral and he teams with Gallows and Anderson. There are so many ways. AJ doesn't even lose anything really if he loses to Ricochet in overall mainstream appeal.
And the other side of this as well is that we're looking at this from the idea of like, well, we've had to have this match. So the other alternative is don't book the match.
Yeah.
If you book a match, we're like, I don't really want either man to lose. Then don't book the match, because otherwise you end up with Ryback versus CM Punk, Andy's favorite Ryback, where you end up with like, well, we need to have CM Punk keep the title, but we don't want to beat Ryback. Oh no, we're inside Hell in a Cell. Ref
Brad Maddox.
Brad Maddox does something.
Yeah, it's and if this sets up an AJ Ricochet pay-per-view match, I just hate that way of doing things. Let's give you the match now for free to set up the match.
Yeah.
It's backwards.
So yeah, but I did think it was a good main event.
Yeah.
And I thought the show actually was, as for much as we become sort of like taking the mick out of this sort of stop-start new way of doing matches and stuff, and this sort of whole random resetting, which I do think is a very clunky way of doing things, the show did feel like it flowed quite well. But again, and it's funny enough, Dave Meltzer had the exact same viewing experience. I did watch this in like 3 bits. So I managed to watch it like the first 2/3, and then I had a break for about 4 hours, and then watched the final third of the show. So I don't know then if that really helped my viewing experience.
If we're doing overall thoughts of the show, I thought this was superficially quite enjoyable. But every segment, if you just look a little bit closer at it, falls apart. Yeah. And from just a logic standpoint. So, I did enjoy it, but it was a very problematic episode. Let's get on to our super chats with Randy Andy Daxon.
Yes, well, there has been an outpouring of love for you, Luke. An absolute outpouring.
Thanks,
It's
everyone.
been, 13 people said Elias out of that. And did you know, you might have missed this, Becky Lynch is Seth Rollins' girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I did pick up on that, actually.
Yeah.
They did mention
Subtle.
that. Yeah, they mentioned it a handful of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure you'd noticed. But we will start with Michael Dominguez, who says... He says, you must roll R's for Mexican names out of respect.
Not anymore.
No.
You ruined that.
Well, Michael hasn't even got one in it. I can't go Michael. But I will see.
You have to be culturally insensitive as a punishment for the R's.
Metal Bear says, club to turn heel and hold gold. They cut a promo at Survivor Series or something about how they're the best group alive, and then boom, shock the system.
Yeah, I think at this point though, it's just I'm looking forward to the Undisputed Era going to the main roster. I think I just want them to stick in.
What next for the Undisputed Era?
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe I do need the Undisputed Era to go, because then I can think of different titles for the NXT reviews.
What next for Shayna Baszler?
But yeah, she doesn't draw though. That's the problem with it. It's the problem with NXT reviews. The only people that draw are in the Undisputed Era.
They're stars.
They are stars. No one else draws in thumbnails.
They're not on. Where were the Undisputed Era? Tim Arndt says, you guys see Becky tweeted that she's not comfortable with her relationship being constantly mentioned by WWE.
She did.
I didn't see
I'll
that.
have a look at that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I said on yesterday's Stomping Grounds review, and I didn't really cover it in my review today just because I didn't want to go into it too deeply. I don't think there's Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch have on-screen romantic chemistry.
Yeah, and actually,
It feels a bit like brother and sister.
on the one segment that I've seen thus far, it didn't seem like they were massively into doing this. It certainly wasn't Edge and Lita.
No.
It certainly wasn't.
What's happening? WWE Universe have tweeted, "Can you feel the love tonight? The peace the evening brings," which is from Lion King. And then Becky just replies, "Please stop, lads."
Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen her new profile picture?
Yeah, it's a picture of Seth Rollins with her hair.
Which makes him look even more like Jesus.
It does, doesn't it? Ginger Jesus.
But yeah, I wouldn't. It's just having a girlfriend isn't like... You don't walk in and go, Ollie's girlfriend, Luke's... It's going into work and having a girlfriend mentioned by...
You do it all the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, you name drop her all the time.
Beep, 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 beep. That's because I'm very ugly. So it's Bonza Ray says, "Do you think Ricochet's gun sound effect will be foreshadowing or for him taking AJ's place as leader of the Bullet Club?"
Absolutely not.
It makes sense.
The Pew Club.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that when Bruce Pritchard does a something to wrestle in 10 years' time, he'll be like, it was the plan all along. We always knew we were going to do this. The plan was always to beat Bryan like a drum so we could win at WrestleMania 30. It's always what we had planned.
It won't be called the Bullet Club in WWE. It'd be like the Nerf Club.
KJ says, "Welcome back, Luke, and thanks, Pete, for filling in." I think we can all echo that. Thank you very much, Pete.
Yeah,
Keep on chopping.
Pete did very, very well in filling in for me. At least when I heard of the intros and outros for the podcast and actually listened to the content of the... I didn't care about the actual show itself. I just wanted to hear people's emails.
Yes. Jobber JJ, who has, since you left, has changed his name to Ollie Davis' #1 fan, says, "Hey, Ollie, welcome back, Luke. How was Peru? Did you see any giant guinea pigs?" I'm assuming he means capybaras. For Luke's thoughts on the 24/7 championship shenanigans.
Yeah, I did enjoy Peru. I thought Peru was a very, very lovely country, very touristy. I would certainly say, based on like the locals that I spoke to, all said like, yeah, I mean, this is very... No locals actually eat in any of these places because it's far too expensive. But for us Westerners, it was actually very, very cheap. Like for us, privileged people, like 40 sols for 4 people to go out and eat. It's like it's a tenner.
They trade in souls.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Undertaker could clean up
40 souls.
Yeah, it's actually dirt cheap. Machu Picchu is lovely, but it's too busy. 7,000 people a day is ludicrous. But the Inca Trail is amazing. That's the thing I'll always remember is actually doing the Inca Trail. That was really, really good, but very, very mentally challenging.
That's like a whole NXT review in Machu Picchu.
I don't know what you mean by that, actually.
The viewership.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
But anyway, it was. I had a lovely time for it. It's a beautiful country. And thoughts on the 24/7 title? It's exactly the same as it was when I left. So, same champion. Literally nothing has changed with it.
Cool. Vactors V says, "If the WWE wants their product to look more like a sport, maybe they should introduce a match card for the night and wrestler stats on the Titantron."
They sort of do, though.
Yeah, I'd love that.
But they do have a match card for the night.
Do they?
Yeah, at the start of the show, they say, here are the matches that are coming up tonight.
Yeah, but it's white noise when Michael Cole says it. If someone else did it, I think there would be a more sports-based way of doing it. I agree with that. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think they... Yeah, for me, that's kind of what they already do. They kind of tease what's coming up for the next 3 hours. But yeah, like tailor the tape. Don't just do it for the beefy lads. You can do it for everyone else.
And something that is still the same since when you left. Sean Dunn says, "Fake Bailey Sting is calling out Bailey Sting."
Where?
Where?
Who knows? But Ollie's been getting increasingly exasperated.
I can tell.
New Age Entertainment says, "I only watch NXT, WrestleTalk, and now AEW."
But I will say, so onto that, I will say that I think you being more exasperated by it just gets it more over. It's the same way as when you said, we'll never do Andy merchandise. And then everything just flooded in saying that's what we want. It's because you said you didn't want it.
8 people. Let's temper.
But that was 8 more than it would have been had you not said you didn't want it. But yeah, I can certainly see that. I think you even said on one of the podcasts that if you weren't a fan, you would have stopped watching by now, and you probably would just be, and you would have stopped watching Ring of Honor. You've just been waiting around for AEW now.
Yeah,
They've got a show this Saturday.
Yes, yeah.
They do.
Fighter Fest.
Moin Carnib says, "If Brock and Bray Wyatt are world champions by Survivor Series, should Bray Wyatt win clean?" By the way, my name is pronounced Moin. Oh, okay, sorry. Moen.
But if they're both champions, should they win clean at Survivor
Well,
Series?
yeah, so the idea is being that if Brock wins the Universal Championship by cashing in, and if Bray's WWE champion, and you have that champ, because
if that's the theme,
maybe they'll still do that. Because I wouldn't put it past them, and they'll still push it as like it's the one night of the year where Raw and SmackDown go head to head in direct competition, because the matches don't count.
Yeah, and they've got the money from Fox now,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter if they beat SmackDown champs all the time.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
We should probably just have one more.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And Vernon Jeffrey says, I feel sorry for Drake Maverick. R-Truth could have waited until after his marriage was consummated.
Yeah, they didn't get to go jogging.
So I just assumed that this was like a kayfabe wedding, like a worked wedding, if you will. It's a shoot thing.
It's
like
a
they
shoot
did
wedding.
it at their shoot wedding. That's great.
I'm amazed. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it at my actual wedding.
But I will say, I genuinely felt bad for Drake Maverick when he was coming out talking about like how his wedding was ruined and things like that. I was like, yeah, R-Truth, you absolute prick. Why did you ruin this man's wedding?
Well, we'll come on to that when we come on to the full segment bit. So, Raw as a total, from the top to bottom. We'll get to the rest of your super chats after we've been through the show. It kicked off with Becky Lynch's boyfriend and Universal Champion, Seth Rollins, coming out to start a promo, and then Seth Rollins' girlfriend, Becky Lynch, came out to stand next to him in the ring.
Yeah. So on my predictions, I'd forgotten half the people that I'd picked. And so I assumed, because I had picked like the worst possible answers, that Lacey Evans had won the women's championship. So when she came out with the women's title, I was like, oh, I thought she lost the title for some reason. But no, she is still champion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Maybe it was like jet lag or something that made me think that she had lost the title.
You entered the worst timeline in over the Bermuda Triangle.
But hey,
somewhere.
maybe Lacey still could win because she's getting a third bite of the apple, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine that in one fell swoop? Okay, so what happened here is Seth and Becky didn't have any sexual chemistry, and then Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans jumped them from behind. Becky and Seth easily dispatched them. There was a cool moment when Seth tried to pull Becky off Lacey, and then Becky just pushed him off.
I thought he let her go. I thought he was just like, hey, you go, you do it. I'm sorry I tried to stop you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that I touched you.
And then Becky just kept on beating Lacey, which was cooler.
And then Baron or Lacey challenged them to a mixed tag match at Extreme Rules. Or rather, they might have challenged them either way. And then they were like, oh, we'll even up the stakes. And Seth accepted before he even heard what the stakes were. And then Baron said, both your titles are on the line. It's winner takes all.
Yeah. Ooh. So after both Seth and Becky have beaten both Baron and Lacey decisively over the course of several months, now they're going to be a tag team.
And that might help them win.
It's rubbish.
Yeah.
It's rubbish. It was we just, predicted this is what was going to happen after Stomping Grounds, and that's what they did.
Yeah, and there was a period of time when I said, I don't think Lacey is the worst choice for Becky's first WrestleMania opponent or post-WrestleMania opponent, and I still stand by that. However, it does become a problem when it is months and months later and it is still Becky versus Lacey.
What did Ollie say was going to happen?
Hey man, I'm still, maybe I'm just always full of optimism, and then no matter how much this company beats it out of me, I still be like, but maybe this time.
So Becky and Seth, I was thinking about sexual chemistry, and I thought, who had the most sexual chemistry?
Returning.
Yeah, in WWE. Obviously, Lita and Edge had an over-the-top sexual chemistry.
They did.
Vince and Linda.
Miz and Maurice.
Oh.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, absolutely.
They were just like, even when they weren't as an act together, I was like, they're going. They're jogging.
And also, I just think that they just feel like so much in love with each other. Like, they look at each other like they're the most important person in the world, like you and I do. So yeah, I think that's very much. I mean, you say Vince and Linda, Randy, but I would say Vince and anyone else but Linda. Every other woman on the roster,
Vince and Mick
but
Foley.
Linda.
Yeah.
Is how I was. Particularly Stephanie.
Oh, come on.
Hey, come on, man. He
Um,
he probably would. He probably would.
so where were we? You've completely fudged my mind there.
Sorry.
So at least like the Baron Corbin, Lacey Evans vortex is sucking up the whole main event scene across 2 divisions now, the women's and the men's. But at least for this episode, that was all we got of it.
Yes. That's
So
true,
bar the occasional recap of this happened earlier, Becky and Seth are dating.
yeah.
This was the only segment.
But they did have a backstage segment with Lacey and Baron where Lacey essentially said, I want to be champion. And I think they basically said that Becky Lynch is the weak link of the 2, so they can always just target her.
Lacey's seducing Seth. We're going to get a Lacey.
Absolutely right.
We're going to get a Lacey backstage with Seth.
Trying to curry some favours. Yeah.
Oh, Seth. Mopping herself down on
With
the
her
neck.
armpit.
With damping
Seth.
Yep,
A
that's the way.
civilized girl like me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is where we're heading. That is next week's show already written.
Well, that's awful. I wouldn't mind Baron trying to do it to Becky. I think that could be hilarious.
That would be even. That would be so much funny. But yeah, like Lacey puts that plan forward. He's like, no. I'll try and seduce Becky. That makes more sense.
And so, you're already dressed up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you know how we were talking about how I'm now just sort of full of this renewed optimism because I've had 2 weeks off? My closing note of that segment was a nice and quick opening segment.
It was like 15 minutes.
It felt so much quicker though. I haven't been beaten down by the show for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I actually watched it. I was like, that was a nice and quick opening segment.
Spent 13 hours on a flight. So
14.
14
hours with no in-flight entertainment.
After that, we got Daniel Bryan, Rowan, and The Revival taking on New Day and the Usos in a tag elimination match where it's not every single person who has to get eliminated, it's only the tag teams. So if one member of the tag team gets eliminated, the whole tag team's gone. I only figured that out about 5 seconds before the match finished.
Yeah. And you could tell that we were in Washington because Daniel Bryan was out first and very quickly.
And beaten.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're in your hometown.
He got an amazing reaction the night before at Stomping Grounds.
Was that also in
also
Washington?
in Washington?
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Well, I mean, that
they've
makes
stuck
sense. I mean,
around.
like that's like always bound to happen, isn't it? Like Bryan's always going to be treated like a hometown, not just hero, a hometown savior.
Yeah.
Even when he is like I'm currently a heel. They're still going to treat him like he's the world's biggest babyface.
Well, even as a heel, his promos he cuts in Washington are Washington positive.
Yeah, he's like he's like Canada. He's like Bret Hart in Canada.
Yeah.
So you could actually have your like a New Day version of Bret Hart, not New Day version of Bret Hart, but a New Day, current day version of Bret Hart with Daniel Bryan, as opposed to just being like, no, he's just a. Because they kept saying in commentaries, like, this is a very different reaction than Daniel Bryan usually gets.
Yeah, I don't know why
It's
they
like,
said that.
Don't say that. Just like it's in his home state. People love him in his home state. Don't say like, but everywhere else in the country, he gets booed. Everywhere else, people play by the bloody rules.
At Stomping Grounds, they chanted, "Please recycle," and "Drive a Prius." Which were very good.
That's great.
Anyway, this was a fun match. Bryan was the best part of it, I thought.
Yeah,
but
Bryan versus Wood was great.
Yeah, he was eliminated first, and then Xavier Woods was eliminated straight after. Come back after the break. The Usos were about to be stereo superplexed, I think.
No, so they were going to do a superplex onto Jimmy.
Right.
And then Dash Wilder was going to do a big leap. But however, Jay attacked him and then jumped off of his back to do a splash onto Dawson as he'd landed off the superplex to pin him. Which I actually thought, nice and creative finish. My question, however, though, is that at the start of this match, they said that it is the first time ever that the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Champions are teaming up together against their top contenders. Now, didn't New Day lose at Stomping Grounds?
Yeah.
So why are they the top contenders?
Because...
New Day rocks.
Yeah. After that, we got Braun Strowman tugging a truck.
They're still feuding, I
He was
see.
tugging off a truck. They weren't feuding. This is.
They
I thought.
were. That's the match of Super Showdown.
I know. I thought that was done. They haven't really been programmed together for 2 weeks.
Have they not? Oh, I thought this was
It's
just like they've been doing this ever since I left.
It's like they thought, oh, Luke's going away for 2 weeks. Let's just fill for a period. And now the Undertaker's back, and Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman are still feuding.
Because once again, I go away, they had their match. I've come back, they're doing more beefy strongman stuff. I'm like, oh, this just feels like it's been carrying on since I've not been here.
No, there's been nothing like this. It's just been like, I think they had a 5-way, an elimination 5-way, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And then, there wasn't really much else. But here, it was Braun Strowman tugging a truck to prepare for his tug of war with Lashley.
Come on, guys.
Then we got MizTV with R-Truth and Carmella.
Well, before that, I don't know if you spoiled this. This was pointed out to me, so I missed it. Yeah, so Miz was walking backstage, getting ready for MizTV with R-Truth. And I didn't see this, it only was pointed out to me afterwards. But you can see Abby the Witch in the background of the shot, just like peering round, watching Miz walk past. And I was like, that's really cool, because I didn't see it. And apparently the Buzzards was there, Bird Raptor, was during Kofi warming up backstage as well. Yeah. That's cool. Is this new?
It is cool. No, that's completely new.
Okay.
But this is... So, Firefly Funhouse as a segment sort of culminated last week.
Oh, right.
And, then there was the pay-per-view. You kind of expect a new pay-per-view cycle, debut a new character, or Bray Wyatt's new version of his character. So I think, even though the cool background bits are a nice little subtle way of foreshadowing it, that's the wrong way round. You do that stuff before you start doing the Firefly segments, and then you have the Firefly segments, and then off the momentum there, you debut him, or you do a slow camera zoom in on the stuff in the background.
I'm actually going to disagree with you here, because I think that this is the first time where this stuff is now bleeding into the WWE realm, because previously it's been very separate, because he's been on his sort of like make-believe TV show set. And this is the first time now it feels like, oh my God, these guys are like, these puppets are now, they're with other wrestlers. So it's now, it almost feels like it's starting to bleed into our reality. So I thought this was quite cool. And the fact that they didn't focus on it is even better, because then it becomes a big social media thing about people posting it up on Twitter, talking about it more, people maybe going back and rewatching stuff on the YouTube show, maybe going back and rewatching the replay. I actually think it's a really smart way to do it. Not mentioning it at all is a very un-WWE thing to do, because otherwise, a WWE way of doing it would have been Michael Cole being like, did you see that Abby the Witch from Firefly Funhouse? Whoa! Did you see that there?
What was that? The thing you've been promoting for the last 8 weeks, Michael Cole. Well, you watched it.
Really, what he would have said is, what a moment.
What a moment.
What a moment.
You see, I can see where you're coming from, and personally I don't agree, but you can make an argument for that. However, I think what happened is Bray was meant to debut this week, and they crapped the bed, and for some reason brought back The Undertaker. You can't have 2 returns like that on one show. One will get especially when they're both kind of supernatural style gimmicks anyway.
Yeah, okay, so I can see that.
I reckon Bray was meant to debut this week.
Okay, it's interesting. It's interesting.
MizTV was next. R-Truth and Carmella were the guests. Very funny stuff, showing the sort of clips of Drake Maverick losing his 24/7 title at his wedding.
I think we need to rephrase this. R-Truth ruining a man's wedding.
Yes.
Because that's what he did. R-Truth ruined a man's wedding and thus ruined a man's marriage. How is he the babyface? How is he the babyface in this situation?
Well, he's the babyface because he's so goddamn funny.
He's very funny.
And because I was like, I feel like Truth's being a bit of a dick here.
He is being a dick.
But then he said something about, the 24/7 title. Everyone's always trying to get me to come out of my house so they can beat me.
Sir, your music is too loud.
Exactly. Sir, your car's on fire.
Oh, I'm not going to fall for that one.
It was really, really funny.
Yeah.
And then down comes Drake Maverick, and he's sort of got his wedding tie still around his head and his suit. It looks very disheveled. And I started to feel for him until he said, I've got to win back the love of my life. The 24/7 title.
Yeah.
So he is very much a heel.
It does pose the question, why do people want to win this title? Because ever since Truth has won it, he's just been saying it's ruining my life.
Yeah.
And Drake is now saying it's ruined my marriage. Why do people want to win this belt? It sounds like a horrible title to win.
I think the US title's got a worst record.
Perhaps, yeah. I liked Maverick said that his wife's not talking to him, and we haven't even consummated the marriage. And Truth says, you need fiber. And they're like, why? It's like, he said the marriage is constipated. Good line.
There was a constipation chant from the crowd
Yeah,
as well.
constipation chant. Truth also called it the 48-7 European TV title.
Vince McMahon is loving that potty chat backstage.
Oh, I bet he is,
That
yeah.
is toilet humour in his
He's also
wheelhouse.
probably been very much enjoying the intros and outros of the WrestleRamble podcast
Yeah.
while I've been away.
The
which
dirt
have been,
sheets.
which have been nothing but toilet chat by the sounds of things.
So then Truth and Drake Maverick had a sort of match.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So again, not been around for 2 weeks. You might be able to help me with this. Miz suddenly puts his finger in his ear. He's like, wait, sorry, what? I'm being told by the people. I'm being told that if you accept, no one will interfere in this match. And I'm like, who's he talking to? Who is making this decision backstage?
Hornswoggle.
Well, it can't be Hornswoggle. That's who Truth thinks Drake Maverick is.
Oh, right.
And then later on, when Alexa Bliss and Naomi are having a match, when they're making their entrances, Michael Cole says WWE officials made this match official earlier in the night. And I'm like, who are the WWE officials? Is that Shane and Vince et al.? Or is it like impact management when they just kept saying that there was this sort of like ethereal impact management that were making matches and putting on stipulations, but never referenced who they were?
It's both. It's both for when they need it to be a certain thing. Sometimes it's Lacey Evans, who changed the stipulations and rules of the match during the Stomping Ground main event.
But she was the ref, right?
Yeah, but referees don't usually have the
you're
right
right.
to that. Usually in that situation, you just exercise referee discretion and say,
You're
"Well,
absolutely right,
I'm not gonna disqualify you for the chair there."
No, you're right
Or I'm
there,
not
yeah.
going to do the green count. So yeah, really, I mean that's not something that's changed in the last 2 weeks.
No.
That's a problem with WWE for the last ever.
Yeah, okay, I was fine. I wondered if like WWE officials were a thing or something.
So-
'Cause we don't have GMs.
So they go to break and they come back, and I was quite looking forward to a Truth versus Maverick match.
That'd be quite fun.
Yeah.
Truth won right away.
Yeah, it was like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then undercard run down, Truth escapes through the crowd, and mean Charlie Caruso.
Where did she come from?
She just Thanos'd into appearance. They must have undone the snap.
And then she walks us like, so you're a loser? What's it like to be a big dumb loser?
You're a stupid face and you have a weird accent.
Yeah. Why are you so rubbish?
I hate you, Drake Maverick. You're an embarrassment.
Yeah. And then he cries and walks away. And again, I'm like, how's he the heel? How is he the heel in this situation?
I felt quite sorry for him in that moment, yeah. Then Lacey and Baron are backstage talking tactics. We already referenced this earlier.
Before that, Roman was also walking backstage, and Cole said that Roman tweeted out earlier that this is getting old, in reference to his feud with Shane and Drew. And I was like, you're not the only one, mate.
No, he was talking about The Undertaker, who he was going to return. So with Lacey and Baron then says at the end of that sort of segment where they're plotting about, targeting Becky, that they could become the power couple of WWE.
Yeah. Lacey said that Becky is Seth Rollins' kryptonite. And maybe I'm just being very nitpicky here, but Lacey Evans as a character doesn't strike me as the sort of person who would refer to something as kryptonite.
Did I ever tell you I once broke up with a girl, legit, because she didn't know what kryptonite was? And we've been going out for 6 months, and I was an adult. I just thought we were so disconnected. That was the last straw.
That was the last thing. She doesn't know what kryptonite
How could
is.
you not even know what that is from from pop culture that just seeps through? I am your father. Whatever. Then we got, speaking of Roman Reigns, Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre in a 2-on-1 handicap match that was then announced to just be a 2-on-1 match.
Yes.
So no taggings in.
That's right, yeah. And the commentators really, really put over that this could be Roman's final night on Raw. There's no way he can survive this. It's a 2-on-1 handicap match against Drew McIntyre and the best in the world, Shane McMahon. There is no way he could come out alive from all of this.
People he's beaten routinely for the last 2 months.
Oh, wow, you say that, but he didn't win at Super Showdown, did he?
It's a good point, yeah. But he did the night before. It was just the usual stuff. It was actually a very good beatdown, I thought, mostly down to Drew McIntyre again. There was some stuff with the steel steps, multiple claymores. Shane hits Roman's spear on Reigns, and then he's getting up for the coast to coast. The match has sort of been called off by this point. And the lights cut out, and the dong hits.
Yep.
All cynicism aside, I popped.
I popped as well. Absolutely. Yeah, I did pop. There is something about The Undertaker that whenever he comes back, I will always pop, which is probably why Vince keeps carting him out of retirement.
But I didn't pop for him on the Raw after Mania. I'm just like...
No, that felt sad.
Yeah. But here, maybe it's because it was involved in a story and it wasn't just like, here's The Undertaker.
Yep.
Hey. And I also popped for the Goldberg bit on SmackDown. I thought that was very well done. But here it was really good. But then as I spoke about earlier with the superficiality of all this, it's a cool moment, but when you think about it, you're like, no, but that's a bad idea.
Yeah, so this is currently Cage Side Seats are saying that this is done because ratings are down. And there's low ticket sales, and we need to drum up interest in Extreme Rules. So we've casted out The Undertaker, and that's what that is. And Dave Meltzer called it a desperate move.
Have you got a new tattoo?
Yes, I have. I got a tattoo while I was away.
Is that of something in Peru?
It's the altitude map of the Inca Trail.
Oh,
yeah,
nice. I just thought a bit of thread had gotten caught on your hand. But you're right, that's really cool.
Thank you.
So and what did you just say?
Yeah.
Something about Dave Meltzer.
So Dave Meltzer said it's a desperate move.
Yes.
It's a desperate move to boost ratings and try and drum up ticket sales. Because from what I can gather, Stomping Grounds didn't sell particularly well.
No.
And they were saying on Observer Radio today that there were 3,500 people there for Monday's Raw, which is a very low number for a Raw taping. And apparently, Alvarez said that that's a lower number than SmackDown last year, which statistically sells lower than Raw anyway. And he thought, man, I don't think they can get much lower than this. And it turns out they very much can. It's 3,500 people for a Raw taping, which is... Meltzer said he needs to check, but he thinks it's one of the lowest numbers in years.
That's bad, yeah. And it really stinks of a desperation move from WWE.
Yeah, cut out The Undertaker.
Yeah, it's not something from the future. And it's weird, on a show that they really built up Ricochet, even though they ultimately beat him, to then have The Undertaker as your actual fallback plan and this relationship of Becky and Seth and Baron and Lacey. It's quite clear where the faults are.
Yeah.
And when you could have debuted Bray Wyatt instead of The Undertaker Return.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a lot more effective and exciting.
And I was thinking about this because this was part of my news about The Undertaker, the real reason Undertaker returned. And I thought to myself that, this is the way WWE always do this. When the ratings are bad, cut out Vince. When the ratings are bad, cut out The Undertaker. Or we need to push the show. Triple H is going to have a match. And it's never... let's try and build a new star and try and catch some fire underneath people and get them moving. It's not when ratings were really bad in the 90s, during that sort of 95, 96 period where WCW were really starting to be on the incline. It's not like they went back to the 80s and said, well, let's find some of the stars that WCW don't have and we'll push those as our new top attractions. They were like, well, what we need to do is completely build a whole new set of characters and we'll just push all these new people. And these new people are going to lead us the way because you can't just keep relying on old people because WCW, that it can't last forever. And it didn't. So they just pushed all this new talent instead. But now here we are 20 years on, where they're now oh no. Undertaker? Should we just bring out The Undertaker again? Sure, he's not busy. We've pulled him out of everything he can do anyway. So let's just count out The Undertaker again.
And speaking of old ideas, next up we had Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley
in a tug of war.
Yeah. So it was, the last time they fought on Raw, it was in an arm wrestling contest. So it's just who cares about this stuff?
Vince McMahon.
Who is going to look at that and go, that's not fake?
Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is looking at it and being he's looking at it and masturbating, but he's also looking at it and being like, this is this is great television. He just pulled a telephone pole out of concrete.
It was really, really hokey, and Bobby Lashley, but Braun Strowman won. He sort of duped Lashley for a bit and then was like, actually, I'm really strong. And just pulled Lashley over the line. Lashley got the rope over Braun's eyes and sort of blinded him, beat him up for a bit and walked off. So this is like, Strowman is someone who could have been a star. He's a great promo. He's got a charisma about him. He's an impressive looking guy. If you book him right, he can have great matches. And he's floundering.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a terrible 2018. And I thought, well, 2019 after Mania, they're going to rebuild him.
Fresh start.
No.
Yeah, this was no good. I didn't particularly like this, but this isn't for me. This whole segment and this whole feud isn't designed to appeal to me, so I couldn't care really. I really couldn't care about it. Just sort of kind of feel bad for Braun, but there was also no mention of Super Showdown. I noticed throughout the show, so it kind of feels that that's now been written out of continuity. Because there's a moment later on when they're talking about, when Kevin and Sami are saying that, like, well, you've only won the title because of, you only keep the title because of the New Day. And he's like, no, I beat Dolph Ziggler on my own. And I was like, no, you didn't. Kofi interfered.
Xavier interfered.
That's it. Yeah,
that was a huge part of the match.
It was a huge part. Wasn't that actually the catalyst for the rematch? Yeah, so he did cheat to win. But it just feels like that's now no longer part of continuity.
After that, we got the sort of Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, AJ Styles, Charlie Caruso crapping on people bit. And also, you're going to love this.
Oh, yeah?
The ESPY Awards.
What are ESPYs?
Right, okay. So the ESPYs are a sort of ESPN's sports awards.
Okay.
And it's a shoot, brother.
Yeah.
And WWE obviously campaigned and lobbied to get in there as like a best sports program. And they've obviously come back and said, well, no.
Yeah.
So they've got a division. They've got their own category. Best WWE Moment ESPY, of which WWE is up against WWE, WWE, and WWE.
Right, because I'll be honest, I thought this was like best sports moment as a whole, and WWE had been nominated for 4 of them, but they were going up against, I don't know, the Dolphins doing a baseball, like
Yes.
like something like that. I thought they were going up against actual sports, so they're just going up against themselves. So this is actually really, really bad. Because then Michael Cole at the end goes, pretty cool, huh?
Hey, look what we guys
We're
did.
nominated for 4 ESPYs. Pretty cool, huh?
And in our own category.
We were only fighting ourselves. What are the 4? So it's Roman coming back from cancer.
Which should win. Like I don't.
Becky-
Kofi winning, Becky winning.
and Ronda
winning. Okay. I mean, Becky...
Roman has to win.
I mean, I will say that Becky winning Becky 2 belts feels like a lifetime ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when she was the most over thing in this company? It feels like a long old time ago. But
After that, we got Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, now free of the Bayley SmackDown Championship feud.
are they, though? Because we've got SmackDown tonight.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They could always restart it again. What is this? You can fill me in here, because you've seen this, actually. You've seen this way more than I have. You can tell me concisely what the story is between Alexa Bliss and Nikki and how it works.
So this wasn't what they started, but now this is the story.
Okay.
Alexa Bliss is natural heel Alexa Bliss, and she is duping Nikki Cross into doing her bidding.
So
by slowly manipulating.
It's
her.
exactly the Mickie James and Nia Jax storyline.
Yes,
it is just a Control-C, Control-V, aha.
Oh yeah.
Of a storyline we've done twice over.
Yeah.
That is remarkably lazy. That's impressive.
And it's worse. I've said it before, because you're using Cross's character, changing it
For matches.
for Matt, and yeah, none of it plays. And then Naomi and Natalia come up to Nikki Cross backstage, just the worst acting. It's so bad.
Natty is quite poor.
Can't they have developmental for just basic acting lessons? And they're like, oh, don't you know what Bliss is doing to you?
She is manipulating
And
you.
Nikki's like, oh, but she's
By the way, flawless Nikki Cross
Thank
impersonation.
you. And I read a comment somewhere who said, What is glow a threat, or is it is it a positive reinforcement? Because Naomi tells the fans to feel the glow, but then she also threatens opponents they will feel the glow also.
But Michael Cole also said that he loves the glow.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Is it something that you want or you don't want?
What is the glow?
What is it?
That's our new question of the day. what is the glow? What are the rules with the glow?
Yeah, Glow Season 3 is back in August.
Great. So this set up a Naomi Alexa match for later on. Stay tuned for that. Mojo Rawley, in his Taserface gimmick, was about to take on Heath Slater.
Oh, man. I was like, oh, they are pushing Mojo Rawley.
I can't believe I didn't see this coming either. I was like, oh, yeah, so he's going to get a squash match on Raw, 3 minutes, bish, bash, bosh.
Absolutely, because he had that feud with... No, that was years ago, wasn't he? That feud with No Way Jose. Then he was
with
stuck
the
in
mirror.
He was stuck in the Mirrorverse, and then did he debut out of the Mirrorverse and won a match, but then hasn't been seen since?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah.
He occasionally pops up on the YouTube clips that happen in commercial breaks
And
on Raw.
I'm starting to feel like that's its own universe because Buddy Murphy's debuted in that universe as well, and I think he's also been in some of the 24/7 nonsense as well.
So that's exactly what happened here. R-Truth ran through the crowd. All of the undercard were there. And it was quite fun. In the chaos, Heath Slater won the belt. Then R-Truth won it back. Then Cedric Alexander won it.
Poor Cedric Alexander.
I know.
So much better than this. He is so much better than this.
He was like one of our guys when we were fantasy booking stuff last year.
He was going to be one of after the Superstar shakeup was going to be, he was like, he's been promoted from 205 Live. Cedric Alexander, remember his great showing in the Cruiserweight Classic?
Yeah.
Please sign him. Oh, man. He deserves so much better than this.
And EC3. EC3 also deserves better.
Speaking of people who deserve much better than this.
And then Truth won it back, making him a 9-time champion.
And EC3 looked upset about it.
Yeah. But that's his gimmick now. I think he's fully embracing
he seemed
what
quite
this is.
cheery when he won the belt.
Yeah, but that, again, as a performer, you would want that. You would
after these promos between Drake Maverick and Truth, why would you want to?
You would do that to then sell the sadness afterwards. Like if your gimmick is being sad, it's better to have peaks and troughs. I think it's definitely a performance. It's definitely based on real life.
He's definitely acting sad.
Then we got a Ricochet interview backstage to not Renee Young, thankfully. Otherwise, Charlie Caruso would have probably made him cry.
You're short. Is your dad around? And is he giving you your belt to hold?
And Ricochet's shtick is, I'm just going to prove I'm worthy to hold this title.
I won because of the support of my friends, family, and fans from the WWE Universe. He's just a humble white meat babyface.
And then we got Kofi Kingston selling his grueling steel cage match by coming out dancing and throwing pancakes.
Which Corey Graves pointed out and said, I thought he'd be more hurt after a cage match.
And
it's always fun when your wrestlers are told, don't sell your injuries, just go out there, don't sell the things from the night before. And then you have commentators go like, I'd have thought he'd be hurt, to be honest.
Yeah.
Seems a bit weird that he's not selling those injuries.
Well, thankfully, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn saved Kofi from mean Charlie Caruso. Because she was in there in the ring.
She was about to, yeah. And then Sami, the critic of the critics, Sami Zayn, they said about 1,000 times on this show. And yeah, Owens calls Charlie not Renee. And I was like, no, you're thinking of Sarah Schreiber, mate. That's not Renee Young.
Yeah, that's not Dasha.
That's not Dasha. There was definitely a bit of ribbing here because I guess that Kevin had a zit on his face, and so Kofi had to point it out.
I just think that was rubbish material. I must say something for Kofi, though. He said a lot of hokey stuff in this promo about perseverance and believing in yourself and blah, blah, blah. But he obviously believes it, and it's infectious. And
he's very good.
He's a good promo, and I believed in what he was saying.
Yeah.
But also, Sami Zayn is an excellent promo too, and this turned into a match between them. Really good match.
Yeah, really
I liked
good.
it.
Yeah.
And Kofi rolled up Sami for the finish, which was nice. Like, Sami was kind of protected there. Kofi just got away. The New Day weren't out there to help him out.
You say that Sami was protected, and you're right. Sami is protecting it being a roller, but also Sami hasn't won since he came back. So it's just, for me, it was like, yep, cool. So Sami's losing again then.
Yeah, that's what I was going to come on to. I was just basing it off of Sami and KO won a great match, my match of the night at Stomping Grounds against the New Day. So here, it's kind of a soft reset, but you're totally right, because then Kevin Owens was like, well, challenge me if you're so good. Kofi comes out. Why don't the New Day come out here? Just as like insurance.
Apparently it was for the WWE Championship as well.
What?
Well, when Kofi won, they said, here is your winner and still WWE Champion. So I assumed it was for the championship.
And they had a really high energy match from the get-go, like Swanton Bomb for the first move, I think, and Kofi got his knees up. They brawl outside. Great looking SOS from Kofi on Owens onto the steel ramp.
Rough OS.
Yeah. And that helped Kofi win via countout. And that's where I was like, you have done such a good job booking Kofi strong to an extent, because he's only been booked against a certain caliber of guys that are portrayed as stars. It's an awkward way to say it. But they have Owens and Zayn annoyed someone backstage? They have been buried.
You say, have they annoyed someone? They didn't go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, oh my God.
Well,
oh my God, you're right.
I mean, Sami's not allowed to go. He's banned, which is probably his fault.
Yeah,
and Kevin
part Syrian.
And Kevin refused to go because he has a friend.
You're totally right. Yeah, I was racking my brains and I thought, well, they did come home from that European tour 2 Novembers ago. But yeah, that makes a lot more recent sense. And then, so KO and Sami look rubbish, really.
Sucks for them, man.
Really rubbish. And Samoa Joe runs out and beats up Kofi Kingston. We had a guy on the Super Chats yesterday say, so Samoa Joe probably lost so he could face Kofi for the title next.
Really?
And me and Pete both said, no, mate. No, because why would you beat someone clean the night before they're going to go for a top championship?
Also, wasn't Joe's whole thing that he wanted to be the United States champion? Because that was his whole... he wanted the title back off of Ray. So now he's lost that belt. Why isn't he trying to get the belt back?
Many reasons to be frustrated with that.
Also, not a SmackDown guy.
Yeah,
there are plenty of SmackDown stars that they could push on that brand. It is bland at the moment.
Yeah.
On that brand. Aleister Black, for example, has he debuted yet?
Nope, he's still stuck in that cupboard.
Yep. Oh, God's sake.
So it's exciting that Joe is fighting for the WWE Championship, it seems. But he has not been booked as a credible threat. It's a joke how many times he's been rolled up and then looks angry. Urgh.
But also, he had 50 attempts at the title when AJ was champion and lost every single one of them. He lost all of his Universal Championship matches that he had as well. So it's not like I don't buy Joe as a top level threat at the moment because, as you say, he's been rolled up and goes all the time, and he's never even come close to winning. Apart from that one time when he pinned, when AJ had him pinned, but he also tapped out, which we thought was going to become a storyline that never did.
Yeah, so that was, Joe versus Kingston's cool, but
but Joe's going to lose again.
Yeah, and it's just not the caliber of opponent that Kofi really needs. You've got all these heels saying, but you're a paper champion. And really, it's because they're kind of right.
And the worst part about it is that they should be caliber level. Kofi facing off against Kevin Owens should feel like a main event thing. Kofi versus Joe should feel main event because Samoa Joe's incredible. Kevin Owens is amazing. Sami Zayn's amazing. They should feel like main event stars, but they don't. So, yeah, it's a case of they should feel like they are top credible challengers, but they're absolutely not.
And then we got Roman and The Undertaker teaming up against Shane and Drew for extreme tags.
Yeah, extreme tags, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Tag rules.
Tags everywhere.
Yep. Those are the most extreme rules, aren't they? Tag matches. There won't be any eliminations in them.
And then finally, we got Naomi versus Alexa Bliss, which went a couple of, barely a minute.
As I've written here, Naomi versus Alexa Bliss. Oh, no. Okay, I guess it's Nikki Cross. No, wait, it is Alexa Bliss.
And then this turned into a tag match with Nikki and Alexa versus Natalya and Naomi, which was also just lacking in drama. And Nikki hit her finisher on Natalya, and Alexa blind tagged herself in to get the pinfall victory. And they hugged. And it's just the worst story in WWE.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to call it the worst story because we've had it twice over already. So it's not the worst, it's the most boring. Because I've seen this before.
I think it's a genuinely bad story because it's not letting characters dictate. I'm still reckon.
Which is weird as well, because isn't the whole thing that like Alexa is one of those people who's got like really good creative control at the moment, and she's like really dictating a lot of what her character does?
Just around coffee cups.
Okay, fair enough.
So overall, I gave it a low average because I think people would have a go at me. I'm like, really, I think it's a poor show because everything lacks substance and it was just superficial. And while it was like an easier watch than normal, I think that's just because we've all got low standards for Raw at the moment.
I haven't watched a single bit of wrestling in 2 weeks. I thought it was an average show.
Yeah,
I
didn't far off.
Yep, I didn't massively hate anything on the show, but also I didn't come away being like, God, I've missed wrestling. So, or I've missed Raw, I suppose, in particular. I did see one tiny bit of wrestling, I should say. On my final night in the hotel, I saw a bit of CMLL.
Ooh.
And Scooby-Doo what was going on.
So let's get into your super chat.
Yes. How about Team Becky versus Team Lacey, and then Team Seth versus Team Corbin at Survivor Series to carry it on?
I mean, that would be so many months.
Yeah. Well, someone did say that surely we're building to Team Roman versus Team Shane at Survivor Series.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's Roman versus Shane for the WWE title with Shane as champion at SummerSlam.
At WrestleMania?
Yeah, you build that through.
And also several people saying that you should shave your arms for charity, Ollie.
Oh, really?
Oh,
well,
I like your arms, man.
Well, I could maybe.
But we will start our second batch of Super Chats with Anthony Eng, who says, just sharing, Abby was peeking around the corner behind Miz and Mercy in the background of the Kofi shot, as we've pointed out.
Just a correction, it's Bird Raptor.
Bird Raptor, sorry, yes, of course.
There's no one called Mercy.
No. And Japanese name, which I never know what it means, says, who would you rather receive 5 consecutive chops from, Walter, Minoru Suzuki, or Oni Lorcan?
I'll go with Suzuki just because I respect him so damn much.
And I think he'd be so playful with it as well.
Yeah.
Like, it would be fun.
Because,
Because he'll enjoy it so much. And I think that it's so infectious, it will probably make me enjoy it somewhat.
That cheeky gremlin face.
Exactly, yeah. Like, he'll do it and then be like, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just do it, Suzuki.
Exactly. It'll be a bit more fun. Whereas if Walter to do it, we've told this story many times before, but it was going to be at Wrestling MediaCon. The original plan for the punishment between ourselves and Cultaholic was we would get chops from Walter until we were told no, because we won't have any medical staff on standby.
Legit could stop a heart.
Yeah. Probably Suzuki because they're more thuddy than slappy, and I prefer a thud to a slap. Small Afro Games.
Jaron Walker
says, imagine if Seth and Becky break up before the pay-per-view.
Well, I think we all know they're turning on each other at some point. Seth's going to get that chair out again. And
Dreaming of Sneakers says, do you think they are setting up Seth and Becky versus Ronda and Travis Brown for later in the year?
I think Ronda's going to have a kid, so I don't think she'll wrestle while pregnant.
Has she announced a pregnancy?
No, but I reckon they're at it.
Well, I think they announced that they were trying.
Yeah, that was the whole reason she left, right? But Dave Meltzer doesn't know anything. He's got no credible sources.
No, exactly. Japanese name again says, Ospreay and Ricochet are the Ken and Ryu of wrestling. My last question of the day, what are WrestleTalk's top 3 breakfast cereals of all time? Should we all have one each?
But also, Ken and Ryu, they're like the bland characters. So I think they could probably be more exciting than just being like, those are the standard colour-swapped lads.
And I will say Crave.
Rice Krispies was my breakfast cereal of choice when I was a child. With raisins.
Golden Nuggets when I was little. Well, great, because they're so unhealthy. And Jeffrey Pridemore says, did you know that Seth and Becky are a couple?
What?
Man, the more you know. I've only been gone for 2 weeks.
I've heard Bret Hart got attacked at the Hall of Fame ceremony as well.
Sorry, what?
Unconfirmed reports.
Oh,
okay. Leisure Suit Larry says, with a very, very generous donation, by the way, says, hi guys and welcome back, Luke. I will be ringside at SmackDown tonight and will be wearing a classic support WrestleTalk
Hey!
t-shirt, hoping to get some screen time for you all.
I mean,
Oh,
you'll be one of 500 people there, so we should be able to spot you on camera. You'll probably be able to name
One of
everyone
500
that's
people
there.
wearing a WrestleTalk t-shirt, you mean?
No, I just mean 500 people there. Common general. But yeah, as I said, you'll probably know everyone by first name by the time you leave.
Jeffrey says, first time donating. I quit watching wrestling, but I watch every video you guys put out. I can't wait for AEW in October. Cheers from Ohio.
Ohio.
Thank you. Sounds like there's a lot of people like that. Just they've stopped watching WWE and are in holding.
Yeah. Will Haight says, good to see Kate's husband back at WrestleTalk.
Ollie's husband.
Yeah,
That's true.
Ollie's
Everyone's
work
husband.
Everyone's work husband.
Mitchell Henderson says, how can I meet you all before I move back to New Zealand in August?
Royal Quest?
Yeah.
I guess, but that's at the end of August.
If you're moving back on the 31st in the evening.
Midnight August 31st is when you're going back.
Or I sometimes get the Jubilee line in London, so just stay on that all
You
day.
can stalk that, yeah.
Rocky Balboa says, welcome Luke, Ollie, and Randy Andy, spelling Ollie in a completely new way, so thank you very much. With that one.
Thank you for welcoming me back. It's very nice.
Thank you for spelling my
guys.
name wrong.
Will Adams says, glad to see my favourite member of WrestleTalk back.
Thanks very much, man. That means a lot.
Yeah, Ollie did miss the NXT review, so it's good to see him back for this. But thank you so much. It's very nice. Thank you to everyone on Twitter as well. It's been lovely.
Valab Mamidipudi says, haha, looks like Luke took CM Punk's advice.
What was CM Punk's advice?
To stop watching wrestling if you hate it so much.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
there
did
we
you
go.
see? There was an amazing response to that though, where someone had blacked out all the letters to say "I am wrestling with AEW,"
Confirmed.
with the comment that said like, "Well played, CM Punk."
It's a done deal.
You, Luke, may have noticed me laughing earlier, and the reason is because of this silly comment, which is from Juan Martinez, who says, wow, Pete finally took off his hat. Which made me giggle.
I have actually got because I've got a worse hairline than Pete has, but I've currently
saying something.
But I currently haven't had a haircut in 2 weeks, and it's grown out to a very silly degree. The comments today are not going to be great for him.
And there's been a few like that. Danny Boy DeVito says, "Wow, Pete, nice haircut." DC Hannon says, "You guys are awesome. Watch every day during work." Which is,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
It's very kind.
probably shouldn't be watching during work though.
Well,
You
depends.
can have it on in the background.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
like
you
a
can.
podcast. It's a podcast.
Andrew Gronek says, "Fighting pneumonia. Plus
wow.
side to listen. Plus side, get to listen live. Did you see Abby the Witch and Mercy the Bird Raptor? We did, and get well soon."
Get well soon, mate.
Yeah, well, pneumonia has its plus sides.
Yeah.
You get to listen live.
Exactly.
But do get better soon.
Always look on the bright side of
Sending
life.
Andrew Power. Marco Juarez says, welcome back, Luke.
Cheers, mate.
As does Ben Greenwood, who is rubbish at getting his predictions in on time. By the way, I have now started putting a deadline thing. There's an add-on I've added. So you can no longer put your predictions in past a certain time.
wise.
You've ruined everyone's fun now. But
I
thank
know.
you, Ben, anyway.
And where was Bray, says Ben.
Yeah. Well, I reckon he was probably bumped for the Undertaker. They'll do it next week.
Next
Yeah.
John DiPietro, Randy Datson number 2 fan, says, Luke, we missed you. How was riding the llama?
Yeah, so I guess riding a llama was a thing while I was away.
Well, that's what you were doing. We had a live feed on the back screen showing you topless riding a llama.
I did see those pictures. They were very not reflective of what I look like topless.
No,
You're
you
modest.
look much more hench than that.
Well, to be honest, with how hot this room is, and it's only going to get hotter as the months go on,
So sweaty.
it may end up happening. I'm dripping.
I
with sweat
don't.
at the
I
moment.
really don't
Glistening.
sweat very much. I'm the best at not sweating, but I am. I am getting there. Nobody asked Nate, who is Nate Craver from the website, who says, alongside these reviews, we also have weekly reviews on the website as well, Raw, SmackDown, and Ring of Honor, and we'll be doing some more soon, so check those out. Marcus says, most comebacks, The Undertaker.
Most comebacks.
Well, I suppose it is because every time he makes a surprise appearance, it feels like a comeback.
Yeah, God, it must be.
Yeah.
Huh. What a stat.
DJ Chili Phil says... DJ says, what do you think of the idea of Bray Wyatt going to SmackDown to balance the presence of spooky dudes so as not to step on the Undertaker's demon toes?
But it's the same show anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, I've just always seen New Bray as a Raw thing. But yeah, he might debut on SmackDown tonight, and they've had to change all his plans, and then he'll flounder, so...
Also,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps I'm reading too much into this. His sweater is red.
HCP Assin says, hey guys, been a while, been busy whenever you guys go live. Hope Luke had a great time. Are you looking forward to Fyter Fest? Live watch long, possibly?
Fest.
I am looking forward to Fyter Fest, actually, because we get Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela, which sounds awesome. And I heard the other day as well that it's because it was meant to be the Young Bucks and Omega versus Pac and the Lucha Brothers, but it's now Omega and the Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers and A-Kid?
Laredo
Kid. Man, holy hell. Sounds great.
It's going to be a good show.
And it's...
No live watch.
No live watch. It starts at midnight here, so it's a very late show. In fact, it starts... at the moment my birthday starts. Bit of a plug in there.
Yeah, I'm not around. I'm at my parents' housewarming party. Drive up to Hereford. My car stopped.
We could have had a joint party,
It's
Luke.
very hot in here, guys. Carry on with the super chat.
James Hollins, we've got loads. So James Hollins says, did you notice Abby the Witch? Yes, we did. Thank you very much, James. Aaron Downey says, Mercy the Buzzard. Yeah, we did. So thank you to both of those. Tomo says, hello, Ollie, Randy, and Luke. I hope you had a greatest of times in Peru. Also, Ollie and Randy, did you miss me on yesterday's stream? We did, because he had to go out for work or something, so he went to bed.
Oh, bless him.
Do miss Tomo.
Yeah. C-Rock, thank you for your donation. As to whoever that was who had a message retracted. Vandalia 1998 says, do you think Roman's booking post-leukemia is better than it was before he left?
No, I think it's worse. But the crowd reactions are better.
True.
Yeah. Matt Dennis says, idea the AJ Styles and the Good Brothers beat down Ricochet after Styles loses the match for the US title to have Balor come out to start a club versus club feud.
It's just that they haven't really been built up to an extent where that would matter.
Yeah.
So, no.
Also, I think we've really got to get past this idea that WWE are going to do something that's Bullet Club related, because it's not their creation, ergo it's rubbish.
Mario Q says, R-Truth breaks Flair's record before SummerSlam.
He's on 9.
SummerSlam.
Summerfest.
Yeah.
Slam.
I mean, it'll beat it before Charlotte does.
Yeah.
They're definitely setting a ridiculous amount of reigns. I think that's the idea.
Supreme says the mid-card of Evil got into the women's division, as we pointed out yesterday. Thick Astley says, like to get your guys' thoughts on 24/7 title during a Royal Rumble match. Would they lose it if they went over the rope, or is it only by pin?
Only by pin, I'd have thought.
Yeah. That could be quite fun, though.
Yeah, but then a main event would win it.
For a bit.
R-Truth could open, someone could throw him, they get the title, and someone could throw that and just do it for all 30.
Yeah, the belt wouldn't change hands over the top, but you could pin people in the ring.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. I would much prefer it to be, don't itch yourself using a microphone, mate, because people are going to hear that.
Sorry.
I would probably say that I would do it like, as you say, that you kind of pin someone and then people almost eliminate themselves from the Rumble. So you get rid of like a load of jobbers. And then you have like a simulcast. So you have like the Royal Rumble in one screen and all the action of the 24/7 title that's just happening all around the arena at the same time as the Royal Rumble going on.
Armless Ambidextrous says, Pete's love for my screen name has inspired me to make a crap gimmick. Beware of the Armless Ambidextrous. Lol. Welcome back, Luke. Love you guys. Can't wait to hear my gimmick be looked over in 2021.
we are going to catch up with the crap gimmicks this weekend.
Yeah, do.
Matt Dennis says, Ollie Davis versus Simon Miller versus Adam Pacitti for the Internet Championship. Support WrestleTalk.
Never heard of the other two lads.
No.
Yeah,
I think one of them is bold.
That's me.
Oh, yeah, good point. Limps says, hello, Swaff Nation, and hello to you, Luke Owen. How the devil are you? Finally got that out. Damn, you have been missed. Hope Peru was good.
Peru was good, but thank you very, very much. I've missed you all as well. When I said it at the top of Machu Picchu, I genuinely did mean it. I've missed everyone.
Pavi, who is Luke's number one fan. Oh my God, it's a returning Luke. He feels so fresh. Vince will find a way. Vince will find a way to ruin his re-debut. Heel Luke. I want Luke riding a llama merch. Cheers, peeps.
That's niche.
That is niche.
Thank
you very much. It's lovely.
KJ says the US title hasn't been good since Cena's Open challenges in 2015.
Yeah, probably agree.
Didn't people like Seth and Dolph fighting over it?
Yeah, but it never really caught fire in the same way. It all felt like a poor tribute act.
Yeah, it did main event that one show, as Randy said.
Backlash?
Extreme Rules, wasn't it? The 30-minute
Iron Man match, which went like 5 minutes. It was 7 falls, I think. Iron Drago says, welcome back, Luke. How would you guys react if the Omni Shane won either the WWE or Universal title, only for Brock Lesnar to cash in on him?
Oh, well, so Shane wins the belt and he's celebrating, and then Brock comes down and cashes in. I think that'd be quite funny.
That'd be really funny.
He won't have the pin kind of sliding off each other.
No friction whatsoever.
But that would turn Brock super babyface, which would be good.
Yeah, would be the worst thing.
Van Thomas says, what are your thoughts on the Rollins versus Ospreay Twitter feud?
I think that Seth is well within his rights to defend the company that he works for. He's a company man, and he fully believes that, and fair play to him. But he 100% lost the argument as soon as he said, I've got a bigger bank account than you have. Because as soon as you, that's it, you're donezo. That means you've got no other competent argument point to make. So you just have to go, I make more money than you.
Yeah, I think Rollins deep down knows that his company is crap, and it's limiting him, and he's just sort of lashing out online. I think he looked really stupid.
He did come off very poorly in it.
We've got dozens to go, so let's keep going.
Keep going.
Tim Arndt says, probably just me, but I got a kick out of Miz flunking a line and saying airplane instead of aeroplane. Airplane. Viola says 24/7 is WWE trying to replace Raven's 27 reigns.
I was thinking that if he gets to number 26, then Raven can come out and stop it. And then
that'd be cool.
It's then R-Truth trying to beat Raven for that belt.
Now this person has asked me to roll the R, and in fact, okay, I'll only roll the R's if you ask me to.
Elizabeth, why would you say that? Because now everyone's going to ask.
But Elizabeth Matsora says, Luke,
annoying.
I missed you. Did they have women in the writing room, you think? WWE seems to think all women's feuds revolve around men's or who's more blonde.
Yeah, it's really bad and probably subconsciously misogynistic.
In fact, she sent the message twice, so thank you very much.
Thank you very
Pavi
much.
is Luke's number one fan. He says, also, R-Truth is a 9-time champ, not including the other titles he has won. Can he beat Flair and Cena's title count? Also, I miss Luke, but now I miss Pete.
Yeah, I think he will be. I think he'll get loads of title reigns, close to 30.
Yeah, I think that's the gimmick, right? Is that he always ends the show as champion.
Austin Tussey says, starting the stream halfway through. Hello from the past.
Hello.
Timothy Jones says, I found Ali. He's been awkwardly walking the streets looking for crime. Maybe he walks around the alleyways and eventually opens a door, and behind that door is Aleister Black.
There was a weird Ali video package from Stomping Grounds.
Yeah, I've heard about this, yeah.
Thomas...
because...
he didn't intervene.
But I don't think he's meant to be, right? Surely the video package is that he's seeing... he's basically showing you what a, tough life, a tough world that he lives in.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely what they were trying to do.
Okay.
It didn't come off that way. It came off silly.
Thomas Lavender says, Zabby the Witch. We did spot that. Our Scraddy says, Pete was great, but Luke is back. Hope you had a good time. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Shane
Pete is great.
Farina says, welcome back to the God. Left eye, Luke Owen.
Oh, I mean, that seems a bit much, especially with the G word. But thank you very much. It's wonderful to be back, but crikey, it's hot in here.
Yes. Tim Arndt says, if Seth and Becky win Extreme Rules, Vince will want to redo that Edge and Lita segment. I hope not.
Stephanie's not involved.
John DiPietro says, Ollie, I need a good toilet read. Any suggestions?
Toilet reads, maybe the WrestleTalk Almanac Volume 2,
boom,
which is a
it
perfect
is.
dipper. You can dip into information, just open a page. Ooh, I like the results from that pay-per-view last year.
2018 title changes.
Yeah.
February 25th, Progress Tag Team Championships. James Drake and Zach Gibson defeated Jimmy Havoc and Mark Haskins at Progress Chapter 64. Thunder Bastards are go.
That's interesting. Grizzled young vets.
That is very interesting, but be careful of splashback. Spig Bite Gaming says, I'm sorry, Luke and Ollie, but Laurie and Pete are my favourite combo.
Ooh.
But here is my $5.
When are we going to get another Laurie and Pete combo? Well,
It was the NXT last week. Yeah, Gaming Daily over on Screen Stalker.
Jonathan Hedman, the headmaster or the brain, depending on how he feels. I really only have to ask why when it comes to The Undertaker. Speaking of The Undertaker, wouldn't it be funny to see him go to the ring with the full Bailey treatment? She is the Hugger Taker. Welcome back, Luke.
Thank you very much.
Dan from Pensacola, Florida, just like Roman Reigns, says, just saying hi, fellas. It's 9:30 a.m. here and I must get back to work. When is the next live reaction pay-per-view so I can actually hang out with you guys?
Probably SummerSlam, actually. There's no big shows until then, but then we'll have SummerSlam and All Out. So.
Yes.
We will. Jeb Sonnen says, hello, Luke. Nice tan, bro. Bro fist. I was going to say. I don't think you've got a tan.
I don't at all.
know.
Well, it's not really a place where you go to get. To the fact it was pissing down with rain while I was walking the Inca Trail, but it's not really a place you can go to get a tan. I don't think. But anyway, yeah. I burn if I stand next to a light bulb. I don't really tan.
No, I go pink. Overdrive Reality says, hey guys, are you guys available for a convention booking in the States? Would like to know who to contact to find out.
Ollie at WrestleTalk.com.
Probably. What? If it's StarCast, maybe.
Set Luke at WrestleTalk.com.
If it's just a school fete, then maybe not.
Because we have had those inquiries before.
One of our names at WrestleTalk.com.
Depends on my person.
Graham Jones says, lads, all-time favourite wrestling theme song, entrance theme.
Ravens. WWE one.
Glorious.
Good shout.
I would actually say it because I can sing it at parties as well.
Lacey Evans. Tyler Bailey, thank you for your donation. Abram Penna says, do you think that these tests of macho-ness between Strowman and Lashley will lead to a dominant tag team between them?
Oh, God.
I hope not.
No.
So it's a best of 7 strong series.
Yeah.
They'll form a tag team.
And they win Roderick.
Called The Strong.
It's a terrible idea.
Jobber JJ says, Luke, the 24/7 title is worth it. God damn it, it's a championship. Better than nothing.
It's really not, though, is it?
It's a comedy. It's a comedy belt.
Comedy
Doesn't
belt.
actually mean anything.
No.
Justin Anzaldu has done what he did yesterday. He has written a amount of money which is more than he's donated to say Bray and Pentagon, please a man can dream.
Oh, Bray versus
Bray versus Pentagon.
Bray versus Pentagon Jr.
Bray Wyatt versus Pentagon Jr.
Yeah.
That is an unusual dream match.
It is an unusual dream match. I like it, though.
Yeah, just a 2-ball guy says the episode's thumbnail should have just been shocking WrestleTalk Return with a shadow of Luke on a lava and also looking for a good wrestling read.
A good wrestling
Big
read.
Apple Takedown.
Big Apple Takedown.
Lion's Pride by Chris Charlton. The history of Japanese wrestling.
Al
Really
Snow
interesting.
has just released an autobiography which was co-written by my friend, so I'm going to push that.
And the WrestleTalk Almanac.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Gabriel Reyes says, got here late, but welcome back, Luke. Hope you enjoyed yourself. I was disappointed to see very little follow-up to the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, same here.
I know I enjoyed the follow-up. As I said, I think it's bleeding into our own reality, and I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Hangman AJ Wilson says, my ex thought the Hulks turned brown. Oil, I feel your pain.
The Hulks turned brown. So rather than green? I don't know.
Let's talk about Hogan.
He's more brown. Duffs 101 says, in honor of Luke's new ink, best and worst tattoos in WWE.
Oh,
Brock's is a bit goofy.
Brock's penis sword.
And Scott Steiner's is a bit goofy as well. I remember I was on a forum back in 2007. Someone said that Randy Orton looked like he went into a tattoo shop, pointed to the most bland and said, I'll have one of them all, please.
That weird belly button one that Batista's got. I don't like that either. Caleb
Not as cool as my new ink.
Caleb Maldonado. Simon's the only person in our office without a tattoo.
He's got better hair, though.
I don't know why this has happened suddenly, but Caleb Maldonado says, need a new wallet and any good reads recommendations.
I mean, the Ridge wallet's a really good one we can recommend with its RFID blocking
How come
technology.
you all got a free one?
Styles, mate.
And that will protect your card from being swiped by people with special devices on the tube.
Absolutely, yes. And obviously, great read, the WrestleTalk Almanac Volume 2.
Yeah.
But I am currently reading Red Dwarf, Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers, and that will then be followed up with Sonic in the Fourth Dimension, which was a kids' book released in the early 90s.
Harry Potter. Dorito Gaming, thank you very much for your donation. Spike Bite Gaming says Braun Bobby earn a respect from each other former tag team. Got like that. Assault Squad says, hey crew, Adrian here. Why is Randy addressed as WrestleTalk.com's Randy Andy and no one else is? Thanks for the show. You make my work day so much better. Love the shield and the super chats. I can explain that. It's because I'm the only one who works directly for WrestleTalk.com. This is my side gig. But I'm the editor of WrestleTalk.com, so that is why I am that. Devante Lee says, Randy, please do your best JR impression. No, can't.
Go on, get paid for it.
Good God Almighty, that's got to be Luke's music.
Oh, dear.
It's not bad. It's not terrible. It's better than I thought it was going to be.
Welcome back, Luke. Hope you had a good trip.
Thank you so much.
Too deep, wasn't it?
Thank you so much.
Avas Dada 0808 Abel. Thank you very much for your donation. I think he messaged separately to say thank you very much. So that's thank you to you. Dorito Gaming, thank you again for your donation. I'm really sweaty. Jobber JJ says, Ollie, it was me who predicted Joe to face Kofi because Kofi needs to be the big guy before my other prediction. Beat a big guy before my other prediction is Shane beating Kofi at SummerSlam. I'm very good at predicting WWE's terrible stuff.
That Samoa Joe is a physically big guy, but unfortunately he hasn't been booked as a big star.
Yeah, he's also not the best in the world.
Pavi, Luke's number one fan, says Luke and Ollie more sexual tension than Becky and Seth.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dustin Pilon says the glow is Naomi's secret cult. Book it, Vince.
Like the Firefly's glow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's all coming together now.
Black Lucha says, hey Luke, can I be your number 2 fan?
If you'd certainly like, I could certainly do with another one.
Yeah.
It's nice to have
I think I've
at
got
least
3 so far.
It's nice to at least have
Ollie's
one.
got at least 1 or 2. Devante Lee says Seth and Becky break up because they lose at Extreme Rules, and then SummerSlam they fight for the true title of the Man. Winner stays on Raw.
Yeah, unified men's and women's belts, and that's how you start intergender wrestling in WWE.
Seth just stomps her. Justin Adelheit says, I was sitting in my car yesterday when I realised, oh no, they're going to do Rollins and Lynch versus Corbin and Evans. Yes, it is what they are doing.
Yeah.
Your fear was justified. Aaron Downey says, I would like to point out that I sent the tea at the start. That tea. Sent that tea at the start.
Didn't get any tea.
But
thank you for
I did get a message saying that I've just been sent some merch and it has been confirmed as arriving, so maybe I can open that on tomorrow's, if you let me.
We won't.
You're not here tomorrow.
I'll open it on Thursday when less people are watching. Jesse Venable says, I was like number 420. So he's donated $4.20. Here's my donation because he's a cool boy.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Downey again says, Ali is now Captain Foresight.
Oh, because he's seeing people do stuff. Yeah. Well done.
Ben Greenwood says, say what you want about my one late prediction, Andy, but my first actual submission was Double or Nothing, and I'm only 7 points behind Luke.
To be fair, I don't think that's that difficult, really.
No, but Luke isn't last anymore.
I'm not last anymore.
Storm.
Simon is, but Simon's pointed out that he won't be here when...
It's
fine.
To be honest, I just need to get more points than Pete.
Yeah, and Pete's been dropping.
Exactly.
So.
I'm like 3 points behind Pete, so that's all I need to do. I think like the trophy means now it's like 24/7.
Laurie's having a surge. Nick, 2 more. Nick Cvelio says, I miss Randy's announcer voice.
No, you don't.
You're the only
one. And Dustin Turner says, Seth Becky eventually take on Triple H and Stephanie Vincent McMahon.
Yeah, why not? Actually, that's not a terrible idea. Good big WrestleMania match.
Ties up your 2 top titles. I guess if they're not champions.
Maybe they can finally make sense of Becky apologising to them.
A long
That's
burn.
that.
Well, thank you very much for loads of super chats.
Thank you
there.
so much.
And welcome back, Luke.
Thanks,
and just
mate.
before we get out of here, we're going to do our Patreon shout outs for our $25 or more a month pledge hammers. on Patreon, Little Drummer Boy Scott Drummond.
Woo! Nice. Arnie K. The K stands for the coolest dude ever.
Yes, it does. John Secret Santos.
Whoa! Probably better than Kyle Philip O'Reilly.
Oh,
No, he's not.
Cool like a summer's breeze. Chris Summerfield.
Wish we had a summer's breeze.
Tell me about it.
Fallen Downer Darian Wells.
Whoa,
Like that
yeah.
episode of The Simpsons.
Nate, drop surname.
Woo!
Nice,
Yeah.
Michael Charles Montgomery Burns.
Just jump my
yes.
go there. He's strong. Justin Roderick.
Yes,
Yes.
he is.
Yes. No, it's
Is
good.
it? Oh, and the order's been mucked
Yeah.
up.
Oh.
Jason Ayala.
Oh, come on. Ayayayala. Surely.
Jason Ayala.
It's like thingy from Power Rangers.
Oh, okay. Ay.
I'll do the second one, and you do the last one. Whatever name is Luke. Raz the Man Reality.
Whoa.
Thanks, Andy. And Xandermania running wild.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Whoa.
Xander.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Please click the videos that have just appeared on the desk to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk Awesome Things, and this button right here, which will make you a pledge hammer on Patreon, and you can get your own shout-outs. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen. Over there was WrestleTalk.com's Randy Andy Datson, and that was Rambling. Now we're all gonna